Oh, there we go. I see the icon. It says
And we are
live.
live. All right. Welcome to AmeriTaiNadian podcast number 4, where we talk about issues generally primarily concerning Taiwan, but
Yeah, anything and everything related to Taiwan.
from the American and Canadian perspective. And sometimes we might even talk about Canadian and American issues. My partner on the podcast is Brian.
Hello, everybody. I'm Brian. I'm the AKA American in Taiwan. You can find my YouTube channel on YouTube at American in Taiwan. It's pretty easy. It's pretty self-explanatory, isn't it?
Great. So you wanted to talk about neutrality in Taiwan. You asked me how I felt if
Yeah,
Taiwan.
I did. Although I kind of wanted to start off, if it's okay with you, I kind of
Sure.
wanted to start off. I wanted to introduce something.
Okay.
This is beer. Say hello to the beer, everyone. So here we go. Oh, center it. There we go. Okay, there's the beer. All right, cool. So this is a Taiwanese beer, and so I'm going to do some promotion here. So there you go. This is it right here.
Hmm.
This is from Modern House Brewing, which is a craft beer company located in, of course, Taiwan. I think they're located in Taichung, which is in central Taiwan. And this is the Farmer's Wheat, which is brewed with passion fruit. And yeah, I'm trying it tonight for the first time ever. And well, it's not a bad beer. I got to keep it real and be honest with you guys that out of the 3 that I've tried, and I've tried 3 from Modern House Brewing, this is the one that I like the least. It's I don't know, dude. I don't know what to say. Like I feel like there's too much fruit for me. Like there's too much of a fruity kind of thing going on in there,
Hmm.
and it's kind of messing it up for me. Like I don't like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know too much about beers. I don't really drink that. When I drink, I'm drinking like whiskey. So
Oh, okay, you're hard liquor, but yeah, the passion fruit. I don't know, dude. I just feel like it's not working for me. Like it's not a bad beer. It's not like revolting,
Hmm.
but it's also not my favorite, right? Like it's far from my favorite, definitely. I don't even think I would go after it. Like, you know, yeah. I'm just being brutally honest here.
That's okay.
Um, there are 2 other ones though that are really good. There's it's called the Merchant's Tropical Stout, which is really good, which is brewed with Taiwanese sugarcane, and that is awesome. I like stout, like the really like thick dark beer, like Guinness. You know Guinness, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's that, and then there's another one where it's like Artisan's Golden Wheat or something like that. Um, so that's really good.
Are
That's
these
really good as well.
native Taiwanese people breweries, or are they
Well,
foreign?
so there are like native Taiwanese people who have gotten into the craft beer game and they've been really successful. But this one in particular, Modern House, was actually started by a couple foreigner guys, I think.
And
And you
they
know,
own.
they got the business going. But I think the one guy, the reason that he's partially so successful is that either his girlfriend or his wife, I'm not sure what their status is Taiwanese, and she's obviously can help him big time with the language barrier and stuff like that. Because while I think he can speak Mandarin, I'm sure that it's like conversational Mandarin, and it doesn't really get into like the high level business Mandarin that you would need.
Where did
You
he
know what I'm
come from?
saying?
Yeah, where did he come from?
Oh, him in particular, I feel like he's American, but he could be Canadian too. I'm not sure.
And good for him for starting a brewery in Taiwan.
Yeah, dude, when a foreigner comes here and they do something that's not English teaching, especially when they start their own business,
Mm.
and they like get really like entrepreneurial, I admire that a lot, man.
Yeah,
Like I really that's amazing to me and I'm so jealous. Like I'm just gonna say it, I'm jealous.
right. Well, no, well, props to them.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely. I admire that, dude. I admire that a lot.
yeah.
That's kind of like part of why I admire Andrew Yang, who is somebody we both
Mm.
like. So
Right. Although, you know, he was born and raised in America, right?
yeah, but my point though is that like Andrew Yang just comes off to me as a guy who has like that spirit, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like that entrepreneurial, like I'm gonna start something and it's gonna like blow up and be super successful, you know?
I don't know if you want to go into talking about Andrew Yang, but
No, well, I mean, I brought him up, which
yeah,
okay, fine, but I didn't want to go there. He just kind of came out,
right.
like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, and he is Taiwanese. We could talk about that if you
Yeah.
wanted to.
Well, no, just very shortly. How are you looking at his campaign right now?
I think it's going really well. I think
Yeah.
it's going really, really well, and I think that he has the way that he conducts himself and the way that he speaks. He's managed to get a lot of people who would never even dream of voting for a Democrat or
Yeah, that's
dream of
true.
voting for somebody who is on the left.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He's managed to get them on his side. Like he has, what do you call what's that called? Crossover appeal.
Okay.
Is that what it is? Is that the correct term? I don't even know.
Yeah, charisma, I guess.
Yeah, something like he can reach out and grab people who might never otherwise like come on your side or listen to you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's been on Fox News like 5 times, and he like for the longest time, like, oh, I guess we kind of talked about this, but you know, I thought like it was so strange that Fox News had him for like 5 times, and none of the lefter wing media like MSNBC or
Yeah, I don't think it's that strange though. Like Fox, look, I got a lot of issues with Fox. Like I really don't like Fox. I'm just gonna keep it real. But
yeah,
the one thing they have going for them is that they'll pretty much they'll pretty much have almost anybody. Like they're really open to having guests. You know what I'm saying?
okay,
Like they're really open to having guests. And so like the only other place that you would find Andrew Yang otherwise is like online, is like new media, right? Because like you said, like I don't think MSNBC is going to let him speak, you know?
You know, actually, recently I heard he's gonna have a town hall in 2 weeks on CNN.
Oh, okay.
I think after that or just before that, he's going to be on MSNBC. So finally, but just
God, it took forever, didn't it?
For the longest time, I was just like, do they have something against him or what's going on there?
They might. You think about it, and he's made statements that they might not like, you know?
Like UBI, their sponsors might not like that, I guess.
Yeah, the UBI, but there's a bunch of other stuff. He's made comments like about breaking up certain businesses, right? Because they're like almost like monopolies, you know?
Like what, Amazon?
Yeah, like about breaking up like big tech companies and all that kind of stuff. And that might be really something that turns them off, you know? Like we can't have this guy going after them. What's he gonna do? He's gonna come after us next, you know?
Interesting. Okay. Because I thought that it would be that, you know, because these corporate media they have sponsors, right? And a lot of times they avoid topics that their sponsors kind of want them to avoid.
Yeah, so, all the time. Actually, I would say all the time.
Right. So, all right. Well, bringing it back to what's going on in Taiwan.
Yeah, okay. So neutrality. Let's get back to that.
Yeah. So you asked me how I would feel if you know, Taiwan took a more neutral stance in the world. So I guess my first question.
Well, actually, can I clarify?
Yeah.
So actually, it's not. So the deal is about whether or not to officially declare neutrality, which is actually a legal status, right? So it's not just like a feeling or like an opinion, right? Like they want to officially declare that and write it into law. Do you know what I'm saying?
Okay. Who does?
Well, the Taiwanese government does.
So the DPP.
Possibly.
The DPP, not the KMT?
Yeah, so I'll kind of like outline then. So Annette Lu, who is a former DPP politician, I don't think she holds any position at the moment, but she was formerly like the vice president, I think, or something like that, or some high-ranking DPP politician. Anyway, she was in government. She held a high position. And she came out recently and she floated this idea of like, oh, should Taiwan officially declare neutrality? Like, should we officially be a neutral country, right? because maybe if we do that, it would be a positive thing, because then you couldn't possibly have any country attack us, China, and have it be justified, because right, like there's no way you can do that and be justified. Like if somebody says, hey, I'm not going to do anything, I'm not going to hurt anyone unless they attack me first, unless they hurt me first, right? Like I don't swing at anybody unless they swing at me first. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So you couldn't possibly justify that. So she's like, this might be like a safeguard, right? Like we do this and then they can't even dream of attacking us, because then the whole world would be like, what are you doing? These guys are neutral. They don't fight anybody. Like, why are you bullying or picking on or violently going after these people who are just minding their own business? You know what I'm saying?
I don't know if China would care though. I feel like they would say like, I don't care what you declare yourself as. Like you are ours. So if you don't accept that, the Xi Jinping has already declared I won't shy away from using military force. Yeah, that's true. Like you think about it, and it's like the CCP and international law. They already don't follow it. So wait, international law doesn't follow it? Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. The CCP doesn't follow international law. Not in the slightest. I thought you meant that international law doesn't respect neutrality. I misheard you there. No. It's the CCP. It's the Chinese Communist Party that looks at international law and thinks whatever. You know. Can you give me some examples? Okay. Perfect example. All right. Let's go to the South China Sea. So recently, in the past, I don't know, 5 to 10 years, China has been militarily intervening in the South China Sea, and they've been building fake islands. They've literally been building fake islands, right? And you can see satellite pictures of these islands, and they're militarizing them. They're putting like bunkers, and they're putting like airstrips, and they're putting SAM sites. Exactly, right there. Say something, Dan, so they can see it. Yeah. So, area claimed by China, South China Sea. So it's all of this area over here, I guess. Exactly. Okay, so now you notice the Philippines right there? Yeah. Okay, so there was an international court that was going to arbitrate and make a decision, okay? Now, who owns these islands? Is it the Philippines or is it China? And the international court ruled in the Philippines' favor and said that these islands are not actually islands. They don't actually technically qualify as islands under the legal definition of an island. You made these, they're fake, and they don't belong to you anyway. They belong to the Philippines. And China was like, international, sminternational, we don't care. Like, we're not backing down at all. Like, these are ours. Like, and if you want to change that, then you'll have to force us out, because we're not going anywhere. So are they still, what has the international community done in response to that? Well, apart from the United States, I don't think anybody has done anything. Right. Right? Like the United States continues to do naval patrols through that area, and China gets upset, and they're like, you can't come through here. These are our waters. And the U.S. is like, these are international waters. We're just passing through. You got to deal with it, you know? And China and them are just like, oh, we really don't like you doing this. And the U.S. is like, oh, all right, deal with it, bitch. You know? That's strange. Yeah, well, if it's already, I don't understand. Like, if it's already internationally, declared, that it's interesting that they still have like the fortitude to go no, Yeah, well, I mean, that's China, that's China. They don't care, dude. They don't care. I don't know, this may or may not shock you, but they're a lot like the United States. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, do you want to give one example of what you mean by that with the United States? Sure. Who attacks a country that didn't even attack you in the first place? Who invades a country that didn't even have anything to do with anything with you? The United States does. The United States invaded Iraq in 2003. They didn't attack us. They didn't do anything to the United States, and we invaded them anyway. And we said it was about WMDs, and then there was no WMDs. Right.
We just lied about it. We just made up a bunch of lies.
How unfortunate.
I know it sounds bad, but it's true. It's true. We did that.
Wait, was that?
And I just pissed off everybody.
No, I don't think so. No, nobody's here yet.
No. Hey, don't forget. On the last podcast, after the last podcast, people came out yelling at me, called me a racist. Like,
yeah, I just ignore those guys.
Those comments were ridiculous.
Yeah. Just to quickly, the whole Iraq thing, was that to replace their leader? Was that what that was?
Yeah, I think. I mean, you have to play psychologist, and I'm not. But if you asked me what I really thought it was all about, I would tell you that it was all about money, and that it was all about oil and contracts, right? And the whole purpose was to remove Saddam Hussein and to just go in there and set up our own puppet. And then we could pretty much run the place and use it as a source of cash.
Yeah. It's funny. I was just watching, have you seen We Are America?
No, I haven't even heard of it.
Okay. Oh, it's brilliant. I'll send you a few clips afterwards. But basically, it's, Sacha Cohen Baron, I think.
That one. Oh, okay. Shit. Okay, I know what you're talking about. I just didn't know the title. That's when he goes like undercover.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you seen any of it?
Oh yeah, a bunch of them.
Okay, so I just saw the one of Dick Cheney, and I actually haven't seen any other than the movie that Christian Bale acted his character.
Did you see it? I wanted to see that. I never got a chance to.
Yeah, I didn't know too much about Cheney beforehand, but I was just watching We Are America, and him getting Dick Cheney to sign his waterboard.
Oh my god, dude, he's such a bad guy, dude. When people say he's Darth Vader, they're not lying. That fool's evil.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, I'm watching Dick Cheney.
You know that part about shooting his friend? He actually did that, and then he made his friend apologize.
Jeez, was that an accident?
Well,
like, what was the reason?
I don't know about that. About that. But he shoots his friend, and then his friend apologizes, like, "I'm sorry, I got in the way of your bullets."
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
God damn, what a guy! What a guy!
I know, dude. That fool's so evil.
Okay, so back to neutrality in Taiwan is.
Yeah, I just want to bring up. So this whole idea of being neutral is not a new thing. It's actually a really old idea, right? And I'm sure you can think of a neutral country, right?
Switzerland?
Exactly. There you go. Yeah. No, not the only one.
That I can think of.
But that's the most famous one, right?
Yeah.
But so that got me thinking too. There's actually different definitions of neutrality, right? And so you can correct me if I'm wrong, but is Switzerland a part of the European Union? I don't think so, right?
Oh, I don't know. Let me just
maybe Google that, because I don't think they are.
Part of the EU. However, after. Okay, so they aren't. No, so
they're not. Okay, so
they signed a free trade agreement with the EU, but
they are not a member state.
Right, and I think, however, after a Swiss referendum held on the 6th of December 1992 rejected EU membership, and so the Swiss government decided to suspend negotiations for EU membership until further notice.
There you go, dude. There you go. So let me hit you with this, all right? While Switzerland is not, and they probably wouldn't join any international organizations like that, Ireland, the Republic of Ireland, is actually officially neutral as well, but they are a member of the European Union.
Okay. So how would that...
Yeah. While I don't know if Switzerland gets involved militarily anywhere, Ireland actually contributes soldiers to the United Nations peacekeeping force, and they have served in different conflicts all around the world. So the definition of neutral is different, right? Like Switzerland might think we don't do anything, we don't get involved in anything. And Ireland might think, well, we don't get involved mostly. We don't get involved 95%, right?
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It could change depending on the state, right? And there's different states all around the world that are neutral.
Hmm. What's another one?
I think Sweden is officially neutral. Hungary, maybe. And
Okay.
I think maybe like Costa Rica might be neutral. I think maybe.
Okay. But even if Taiwan hasn't legally declared themselves to be neutral, Taiwan isn't really involved in any conflicts, are they?
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. Like Taiwan, for all intents and purposes, is neutral.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah.
They don't fight anybody, and their
No.
only concern is protecting themselves.
Right. Right. That's pretty much
That's exactly what
what-
neutral is in my mind, right? Like I
yeah.
don't know how you define it, but that's what I think of it as.
How would you view Israel?
Israel?
Yeah.
Oh well, I mean, come on, bro. They're definitely not neutral. They get involved in conflicts all the time.
Okay, because I was gonna, because we talked about them, or I don't know if it was us, but there was the other guy that I told you about that talked about how Israel is just surrounded by enemies, and so that's why they're so
Well,
militant.
that may be true, but that doesn't mean you're neutral. Like
Hmm.
you know what I mean. You can still you can still get involved in military conflict, in even if you have enemies all around you, and it can still kind of be on you. Like you could still start it. You know what I'm saying? And if you ask me if I had to give like an example of that, I think back in the 1950s when Israel invaded Egypt in the Suez Canal, that was like them. They started it. Like they started that fight. So they can't really like claim to be neutral.
Okay,
If you
yeah,
you can't be neutral if you're going to start a fight. You know what I'm saying?
right. Because I didn't know about that invasion. I just assumed that. I mean, yeah. I mean, I tell you the truth, I don't know much about Israel, so I just assumed that the only reason why they're so militant is for their own survival.
Yeah, that's probably true. That's probably very largely true. And full disclosure, everybody, have family who are Jewish, and I have two members of my family who have served in the IDF. So I don't have any bad feelings for Israel at all. It's probably exactly the opposite. I have a lot of positive feelings for them. I don't want anything bad to happen to them at all. But
Right.
you can't call yourself neutral in that neighborhood, right? In that neighborhood of the world, right? No
Yeah.
one's neutral over there.
It's funny. This kind of reminds me. I guess you would have been in Taiwan at this time when the Philippines had a conflict with Taiwan. I think it was
Oh, was that the fishing boat thing
the
where they
fishing
were
boat,
shooting at each other?
right? And the I think it was, yeah, Philippine
Ooh,
pirates.
people got hella racist after that.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, they got hella racist after that. I had my students come to class and they were saying all kind of things about Filipinos.
Wait, how old were they?
I was teaching a class and they must have been about 9 or 10 years old. And I
Wow.
and I
Okay.
just asked them of like we were either chatting before or after class, and I just asked them like, hey, what's up? What are y'all talking about? Like, what's good? You know? And they kind of started talking to me about the Philippines, and I was like, what about the Philippines? And they just, oh man, they had all kind of terrible things to say about the Philippines.
Did you chat with them in English or Mandarin?
Well, yeah, we were at the school, right, and it was English class, so yeah, the
Okay.
conversation was fully in English,
Okay.
right? Which is that's part of I don't want to get into ESL teaching,
Yeah.
but that's part of if you're gonna like if you're gonna learn English, you should use it. Use the language, right? Like literally use it, right? So like that's the whole point. So these conversations before and after class, while they might seem trivial, I think they're actually kind of important because like that's the whole point. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
So just kind of not that important, but I'm curious what 9, 10-year-old Taiwanese boys would say about Philippines in English. What English did they use? What were they saying in English?
Just imagine what a 9 or 10-year-old Canadian would say
Okay.
if Canada was attacked by
Uh,
anybody. I don't know. Fill in the blank. Like,
the
oh man,
US?
those guys are so bad. They're so evil and horrible, And yeah, we're gonna fight them, and we're gonna kick their, we're gonna kick them out, and we're gonna kick their ass. We're gonna kill them and do this and that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So it's interesting because my dad, we were having dinner, and he was telling me about this, and he didn't say anything about the Philippines or like Filipino people or anything, but like we talked about before, he grew up in the dictatorship era, right?
Yeah.
Where they were a lot more militant back then, and the military was more disciplined back then, as he tells me. He tells me all the time that the military is just so shitty right now in terms of their training, their mentality, and everything, and just.
That's a very popular opinion on both sides, green and blue, and everybody.
Right. And so I was having dinner with them, and then my dad was just saying, man, like Taiwan buys all these weapons from the US, and when when we're finally being attacked, they don't do anything. And it's just like, if it was up to me, I asked him, so what would you have Taiwan do? And then my dad was like, use those weapons, like do something, And I was like, oh, damn.
That's a little much, though, don't you think? It was a fishing dispute. Like, what do you want to do? Like, you want to airstrike on a fisherman on a bamboo raft or some shit?
I don't exactly remember what
you're gonna fire a Hellfire missile at a little Filipino guy in a little like dinghy.
I don't know. I have to ask what he meant back then, but.
I'm not sure. Yeah, like how's that supposed to work? Like, it's a fishing dispute, dude. Like, you don't go to war over a fishing dispute. Yeah,
I don't know. I have to talk to him again.
You're gonna shoot somebody over some mahi-mahi? What?
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
that would be hilarious, though.
Yeah, that would be the joke of the century.
That's kind of how you asked me about it, like, and that's kind of how I felt like it was. It's like a bunch of 9 and 10-year-olds arguing over a tuna fish sandwich.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. So how do you view Taiwan being neutral? Would you want them to declare it, or?
Yeah. Okay. So like we spoke privately, right? And then I said, oh well, at first I thought this way, but then I flipped. Right? So, okay, so like at first when I heard it, like my first reaction was positive. I was like, oh, that's a good idea, right? Because then like you get the moral high ground, right? And everyone's going to look at you like you did it right, like you're the good guy. And if you get attacked, you're the victim. And the only like correct response would be to back you up, right? And then come out against, well, let's just say it, China, right?
Yeah.
But then I kind of flipped my stance, right?
Okay.
Because let's be honest, the only way that Taiwan survives a military invasion, like a full-on military invasion from the PLA, is if the US intervenes. So problem, if Taiwan is officially neutral, sorry?
Can you repeat that again? Can you repeat that part again? Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Where did I cut off?
The U.S. intervening.
Right. Okay. So the only way that that Taiwan could ever hope to survive a military invasion by the PLA would be if the U.S. Intervened at some point, right? But the problem is, if you're officially neutral, are you allowed to have a defense agreement with another country? Wouldn't that be a military pact? And wouldn't that go against neutrality? Like, how does that work, right?
Right.
You can't be neutral if you have a defense pact with another nation. That's not neutral. By definition, that's not neutral, right? You're taking a side.
How would the EU respond to an attack on Switzerland?
Well, that would never happen, but
yeah. Well, yeah.
Like Switzerland, I believe, is surrounded by EU states. So, like, how would they respond? Like, they would respond to themselves, like, "Hey, don't do that."
Well, I don't know. Hypothetically, let's.
I could give you a crazy scenario.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so let's say Italy gets really crazy. Like Italy loses its mind and they withdraw from from the EU, and some crazy asshole gets into power, and he's
Why'd you pick Italy?
I don't know, bro. Maybe I have a problem with it.
Okay, cool.
Maybe I'm a secret racist against Italians.
Great.
Right? Here it comes again. Everyone's gonna be like, he's racist.
But yeah,
anyway,
keep going.
yeah, let's say Italy goes crazy, right? Because Italians are crazy, and and they decide like, oh, Switzerland is occupying our territory. They stole a piece of our territory like 500 years ago or something. We're gonna take it back.
Yeah.
And so they invade Switzerland, and then I don't know, like, what would the EU do? I don't know if they would come together and be like, hey, knock it off, or we're gonna come there and like bitch slap you. Or would they be like, I don't know, it's up to Switzerland and Italy to work it out? Yeah, I don't know, dude. I honestly don't know.
Well, yeah, I was kind of thinking if like there was an outside force, somebody out from outside of the EU had a beef.
But bro, Switzerland is landlocked.
You mean covered by mountains?
It's landlocked. You can't get to Switzerland unless you cross through another country first.
What about through air?
But you're passing through their airspace.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean. Okay.
It would be impossible. Like, they would have to teleport there or something.
Right. Okay, so on the off chance that they make it past the airspace.
I love where this is going.
Like, they've declared themselves neutral, but on the off chance that happens, I mean, they probably would do something, right? I would imagine.
Like, realistically, I imagine they would. I think a long time ago they were trying to form their own military force, right? Like an EU military. But I don't think that actually went through.
Right.
But that doesn't mean they couldn't come together and be like in World War I. They couldn't be like, oh, let's just join forces for this one thing and go do this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean Germany and France and Spain couldn't be like, okay, that's it. We're going to go invade Italy because these Italians are just, they're crazy.
Yeah. So you're saying if Taiwan declares themselves to be neutral, they wouldn't be allowed to accept?
I guess they wouldn't be allowed to accept American military assistance, because that would kind of go against the definition of neutrality, unless they define it in a different way. I don't know how Annette Lu, like, I don't know how she personally defines neutrality. I don't know what that means, you know? Everyone seems to have a different definition. That's why I brought up the difference between Ireland and Switzerland, right?
Right.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. And so there's where I am. I'm against it right now. Like, at first I said I was for it, but now I'm against it because we need that. We need to be able to accept military assistance from the United States, or we're just not going to survive. Like, that's just the honest truth.
Right. I mean, interesting.
So I don't know. How about you, bro? What do you think?
Well, I was thinking, if you declare yourselves to be neutral and getting military assistance from the U.S., isn't that just protection rather than like an allegiance? Well, it kind of is, I guess, kind of allegiance, but I don't know. I'm just thinking.
It's definitely different from like if Taiwan tried to join NATO. It's definitely different from that. It's not the same.
Right. So, because I'm just thinking, if it's solely for your own protection, I think that's fair grounds to say that is necessary.
Yeah.
Even though, like.
Okay, let me float something by you because it just came to me in my head.
Sure.
Right. Okay, so let's go back to the 1960s. All right, South Vietnam, right? Technically, I believe the reason why America said it was there was because South Vietnam needed our assistance, needed the United States assistance to defeat North Vietnam, who was doing incursions, and to defeat the Viet Cong, right?
Okay.
But are you going to tell me that the U.S. was neutral in the Vietnam War? I mean, come on, don't even Like, that's ridiculous. That's just plain ridiculous.
They were fighting communism, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not only were we involved in Vietnam, we were also doing secret, like, shadow wars in Laos and Cambodia.
Right.
So I don't know, man. Like, like, well, what? Like, we're just trying to defend ourselves, and if they're helping us defend ourselves, are we neutral? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's complicated, you know?
I mean, what if what you're doing with the military is like purely on a defensive, like if the military only does something after they shoot a missile and then we just shoot it down or something. It's something that is purely, reactive and defensive. Wouldn't that?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I hear you, and that sounds right. It's like, yeah, we're just reacting, like we're just being defensive. But I don't know. I just feel like, by definition, if some outside power is coming in, then that's not neutral. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's kind of neutral politically, but you're still dependent on another country to defend yourself because Taiwan just can't.
Yeah, and it's all down to size. Like, it's good. Like, I know the Taiwanese military gets picked on a lot, and there's a lot of good reasons for that. At the same time, like, part of me is like, it's really unfair. Like, there's no way they could ever possibly match man for man, tank for tank, plane for plane with the PLA, right? It's just not possible. Like, on the side,
Yeah.
not possible. They're never gonna be able to
You're
match
cutting out. You cut out that last bit.
So I just say, like, they're never going to be able to match a man for man. It's never going to be a fair fight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess that's a question. Are you able to declare yourselves to be neutral and accept help at the same time? Wow, I'm just looking at the globe, and Taiwan is so far away from the United States.
Yeah, although remember that the United States has military bases in Okinawa,
Okay,
which is
fair.
incredibly close to Taiwan, really close. And they also have bases in Japan and in South Korea.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah.
So, like, the U.S. could be in Taiwan in like no time at all, really, if you think about it.
Okay. Do they have aircraft in Korea and Japan?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Zoom into Okinawa, you'll see how close it is.
Yeah.
Some of those islands that are part of Okinawa are extremely close. Like, look at it.
Yeah.
Just there.
Yeah, it's like right there.
Yeah.
Do you see my screen?
I do.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, no, some of these Japanese islands are closer to us than to mainland Japan.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, well, let's go back to why we would want to be neutral. I mean, I guess you talked about, like, I mean, the way Taiwan is now, like you said, if we're neutral and China ever decides to do anything, that would hopefully get the international community to say, hey, they're a neutral country, you can't do anything.
Right. I think that's the whole point, is to get the moral high ground and be like, look, this is ridiculous. Like, you couldn't possibly justify attacking these people.
So I guess we could compare that scenario and the scenario as it is now. If China were to do anything, the United States is already going to respond, right?
Yeah. Well, the United States is bound by, like, legal, I don't know what you would call them. They're not treaties. I don't know. There's legal agreements or, like, legal contracts that basically makes it so America has to respond if Taiwan is attacked militarily by China.
I think it's called, they have the Taiwan Relations Act, TRA.
Yeah, there's a lot in there. I don't know, like, what the exact language is, right, that says it, but there's legal like binding language that makes it so the U.S. has to intervene. Like they have to. They're legally bound to. You know, they would be violating their own kind of like legal framework or legal like obligations if they didn't.
So I guess the question would be, how would it be better to just state yourselves to be neutral and get the, I guess the difference would be how it is now the US would respond, but if we were to declare ourselves to be neutral, more countries might.
I get maybe, I'm not sure. Like, I don't know. Like, you can daydream about these type of things, and you can imagine, like, what if China tried to try something with Taiwan? The minute like the bullets started flying, would Japan and Korea and the Philippines and Vietnam take that opportunity to strike at China in their own areas and in their own ways? And would it become like a faceted, like a multi-front war with a lot of different players going at each other in different directions? Yeah. I'm not sure. I honestly don't know. It's never happened before, so there's no way to know.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm just remembering back to an interview that after Trump got the presidency, a journalist, I think it was for MSNBC, they did an interview with a representative from China. And I don't know, the tone of the interview was very interesting, of how staunch and stubborn China was now. I don't know if I can, yeah.
Yeah, they have big balls these days.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. Also, hey, look, this might shock a lot of people, but I got to give a shout out to Trump. I do, man. I got to give a big shout out to Trump. Trump just approved, and we will be getting F-16s from the United States. It's something that Taiwan has wanted for a long time, but it didn't happen for one reason or another. Like Obama didn't allow it to go through, but Trump is giving Taiwan the F-16s, and yeah, we're grateful. So thank you, Trump. Shout out. Woo!
That's planes, right?
That's right, F-16s.
Okay.
Gotta have those fighter jets, you know?
Let me see if I can...
Oh, also the submarines. I think the United States is also going to help Taiwan with the different technology, like the different parts that you would need to build your own submarine.
Can you say that part again? Sorry?
Yeah, I think that the United States is going to provide the technology or the different components to Taiwan that they would need to build their own submarine.
Okay. I'm just going to show you this clip here. 1 second.
Uh-oh. Let's not get banned or like taken down. Beijing one China policy non-negotiable.
Can you hear it?
Oh, okay. Dude, I've seen this guy before. I know this guy.
Can you hear what they're saying?
No, but I've seen this guy's face a million times. He's a big time player in the CCP.
Let me see if I can.
Be careful with that audio. I don't want us to get taken down or anything.
Okay, I think we should be good, but let me see here. Can you hear it?
No, but I can see. I can see the closed captions.
Okay.
Okay, how would they respond if Trump recognized Taiwan? And then we made our positions very clear. 2 points first. This one, China policy has been the fundamental basis for China-American relationship. Second, because this issue touches upon China's court inches. By no means this is something...
Sorry.
It's okay. So it can't be negotiated, and it's not going to be used as a bargaining chip. There's no room for discussion. Okay, so basically, yeah, they're not going to move.
Yeah.
They're unmovable, right? Like they have their opinion. Taiwan is China, and there's nothing's going to change that.
Yeah. I mean, I think the first time that I heard about the one China policy, I think I would have been like in high school or something. And I thought all it was the recognition that we're all ethnically Chinese and we'll just be two separate states or countries. But
Yeah, that's a fair take on it. That's not even very offensive, but that's definitely not how Beijing sees it.
no, they see it as they're the China and
Yeah, they don't. I don't think they even reference ethnicity or like brotherhood or anything like that. I think it's all political, right? I think it's like this is our territory and we have sovereignty over this territory and we're not going to negotiate that.
Yeah.
You know?
Give me 2 seconds. I'm just gonna change my headset. 1 second here. Sorry.
Go ahead. I'm pretty jealous, by the way. I don't like these earbuds right here. They actually really hurt my ears after a while. I got to get some of those big ass headphones.
Yeah, no, those other headphones, they really hurt after a while. Like those ones are really heavy.
And then what's wrong? They don't have cushions or something?
No, they do, but then they push inwards.
It's too tight?
Yeah.
Like it's too tight on your head?
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I need a smaller head.
Oh, well, you got to work with what you have.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I remember hearing like claims of China being able to take over Taiwan within like 10, 15 years. So how do you feel about that?
Well, I don't know. I feel like people have been saying that forever, you know?
But now,
nowadays, if you ask me nowadays, I don't think China definitely wants to take over Taiwan. I think the most likely way that happens nowadays is not by the military, is by other means. It's like by political or economic, methods.
Do you see mainland Chinese influence on the ground in person?
Hell yeah.
So how so? What do you see?
Well, that article that I sent you in a private message, right, about the news stations here. Right. CTI TV is basically a mouthpiece for the KMT and is constantly pumping out pro-China propaganda here for Taiwanese people to watch and consume. And it's working.
Sorry, can you spell that again?
Which one?
CITC?
Yeah, it's CTI. Okay. It's a TV station here. It plays news.
Okay.
You can type it in like CTI Taiwan or something like that.
Yeah, I found it. Oh, okay. So I recognize the logo. I didn't know that it was Chinese.
Oh yeah, dude. Here's the thing, like that the article like kind of went into that I sent you that they're almost definitely getting money from China. Yeah. Like not directly, but they're getting it through other means. Like they'll give it to somebody who will give it to somebody who will give it to somebody in Taiwan, right? And in exchange for that, they're going to put out this very pro-China message, and they're going to pump out this propaganda again and again and again, right?
So this is like we talked about before, soft power, right?
Yeah, and they're using it, and it's working, and it's crazy because CTI, they're liars, dude. They're just lying. They're just lying. They are.
What do they?
If you read the article that I sent, they gave two examples, right? The author gave two examples, really good examples. They just lied, like they flat out lied. Like number one, they said for Han Guoyu, who is the mayor of Kaohsiung, that when he was running for mayor or after he had already been elected, that a magical cloud appeared above his head in the sky, and there was a phoenix bird that came out of the cloud. They reported that like it was a fact, like he was ordained by heaven to be the mayor of Kaohsiung.
Wait, was this on TV?
They reported it like it was real, like it was a fact.
Jeez, that
Like
sounds
it
like
was a fact, son.
that sounds really North Korean.
That sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? That sounds ridiculous. Like if the United States, like if Fox News was like, Jesus appeared and he was like, Donald, I want you to be president.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Not even.
That's not true. That's not true. You can't say that.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
insane. That's insane.
Not even Fox News would stoop so low.
No, not even Fox News would put that out like it's a fact, right? Like that's ridiculous. That's utterly ridiculous. And they reported that as fact, right? That's number one.
I would
Number
love to see that
two,
report, but yeah, keep going.
well, if you can find it. But
Yeah.
number two, they made up this lie that farmers in Taiwan had produced a bunch of different fruits and vegetables. They did a really good job and they produced a bunch of different fruits and vegetables. And unfortunately, all because of the big bad DPP, those fruits and vegetables were left to rot in the ports and they weren't allowed to be exported to China to make money for the good, hard-working Taiwanese farmers. And that's just not true. That didn't happen. That did not happen. There's not a bunch of apples rotting on the dock in Kaohsiung because Taiwan was like, no, I don't like China, huh? Like that didn't happen, bro. That's not true. That's absolutely not true. They did not block any such thing.
So
this CTI, they just report that like it's real. They say it like it's a fact, and it's not. They're just lying, dude. They're flat out lying.
So I see the headline, "The Return of Media Monopoly," and I'll just share my screen here. Are they becoming a monopoly, or are they already kind of a monopoly?
Well, you'd have to read the full article, and
Right.
we're not going to do that because it's incredibly boring for a podcast. But I think Brian's point, and by the way, Brian is a fantastic author.
Okay.
Not me.
Right.
Brian, yo, I'm not sucking myself off, but but I think his point is that like there's not that many voices right out there to put out news and information. And if China just basically uses their soft power and their money to buy them all up, then you're only going to get one view.
Yeah.
And that basically is a monopoly of, you know what I'm saying? It's like a thought monopoly.
Yeah. I guess this might be interesting to bring up. Do you remember I sent you like this, his name is Guanzang. I don't know if you remember. He's like this guy who kind of looks like a gangster, and
yeah. I know he's a popular YouTube streamer.
Yeah, did you find more about him after I sent you that clip?
Hold on just a minute.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm busy. We'll talk later. Okay. Okay. Shh. I got it. Okay, go ahead. Sorry about that.
Are they having trouble sleeping?
Sorry about that. Yeah, it's all right.
Are you sure? I don't want to upset your wife.
No, it's all good.
Okay, we'll try to be a little quieter.
Yeah. So I'm getting a little animated, I guess.
Okay. What time is it there? It's like 2 a.m.
It's 1:30. It's 1:30.
Okay. And they don't have school tomorrow, right?
No, we're on a long break. Actually, I wanted to talk about that, but we're knee deep into this media thing. So
right.
Yeah.
But basically, talking about media, this guy, Guanzang, I'll just mute one of his streams. This is basically he was talking about how there's a lot of Taiwanese celebrities that are working in Taiwan or China now, because China is able to offer them like much more money.
Yeah, economic incentives.
And I don't know if this is true, but I don't have any reason to doubt him. But he has said that a lot of these Taiwanese celebrities have kind of there
he is, everybody.
Yeah. these Taiwanese celebrities that I know, Jay Chou and Xiao Jingten, um, have said that they are Chinese, and he's basically
Okay,
saying,
so pause.
yeah.
So now, do they really mean that, or is that just something that they have said, like, yeah, okay, we're Chinese, whatever, dude? Like, just so they can get along and do the business and it won't mess up their money.
I feel like that is probably more likely. I don't know if
Like,
this,
what's the real feeling? You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I feel like that's probably more likely.
Like, did they say it or did a spokesman say it? Like, who actually said it?
I don't know. I don't know. I
Because,
haven't.
like, if a spokesman says it, then I'm like, oh, he doesn't believe that shit. He's just telling the guy, like, oh, yes, I am officially Chinese, and that's great. Okay, moving on.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see where he got his source, or if he actually had a primary source that came out of the horse's mouth.
But where does he come off? Like, what's his point?
His point is that he is also a businessman and he sells merchandise, and he talks about how he can make a lot of money if he gets his merchandise made in China and then sold here, or sold to China, or I think manufactured in China and sold here. But he has made a point to make it in Taiwan, and
Really?
and to, even though it
Wow.
is more expensive, he talks about how, like, yeah, he talks about how, like,
He's an economic patriot.
yeah, for sure. And he talks about how, yeah, some of his merchandise might be a little more expensive, but quality is better, and
Damn, dude,
you have to,
I like that a lot. I admire that.
yeah. And he he talks about how, like, we gotta stop giving China our money, and he talks about how like, how these celebrities, they're like really rich, right? And they're
Oh
making
yeah, they're filthy.
so much money, and he's basically saying, like, how much more money do you need? Like, you're basically sort of selling your Taiwanese identity, so to speak. Like, his point was, if you're able to say that you're Chinese, why don't you give up your Taiwanese passport? So
That's a good point, right? That's a good point.
like, why don't you give up your Taiwanese passport and your identity and just become Chinese? And his
I
point was
agree with
that,
that. I agree with that.
and
Think about it, right? What's he trying to say? Like, you're rich, like you're set for life. You're
yeah,
never gonna have to want for anything ever again. You
yeah,
know, like you
you
never have to work another day in your life.
you wouldn't have to.
So, like, why don't you just leave it at that? Like, why do you have to like say all this stuff about I'm Chinese and like basically turn your back on your people, right? Like,
Yeah, they wouldn't have to deal with consequences if the CCP were to abuse their power, which is, true, because they could just fly away, or
mm,
whatever it is. Um, and yeah, so it that's another example of soft power, when you see your favorite Taiwanese celebrity on a Chinese show. And I am watching a Chinese show right now. I'm making videos about it, and while I like I like seeing Taiwanese people getting along with Chinese people, obviously, I sometimes do wonder, is that China getting an extra foothold into influencing Taiwan?
yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, it's a part of soft power. It's definitely a part of it, right? And then, so here's a question about that though. Every one of those people, like, is that a condition of competing in those contests? Do they have to make a statement like that, or could they just say like, "Oh, I have no comment. Like, I don't have any position at all."
Yeah, I feel like, because, okay, so when I'm watching these shows, I have never heard them talk about it. I feel like they that the what this person, Guanzang, is talking about is something that they might have said behind the scenes, or
Hmm.
in the press, or whatever it is. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's an interesting question, right? And we'll never know because we're not like in the studio or whatever, you know.
Yeah, yeah. It's yeah. This guy Guanzang. I wonder how I would call
I
him.
like this dude, man. I like this dude more and more, I tell you.
Yeah, yeah. It's pretty reasonable. Pretty reasonable.
Yeah, you think he's pretty like level and he doesn't go too crazy in one way or another?
From what I've seen so far, I've only discovered him for like, I don't know, a couple months. So from what I've seen so far, yeah, yeah,
Good
um,
stuff, dude. Good stuff.
yeah. What was that other topic that you wanted to bring up?
Yeah, so I mean, so lighter, because I feel like every time we do a podcast, we're so super serious and we
Yeah.
probably turn off a bunch of people because we're so goddamn serious. But not that I don't like talking about this stuff, because I do. But like, if you're not like a super nerd and you don't like talking about super serious shit, then you
Yeah.
probably tune out. But yeah, like we're in the middle of we're in the middle of a giant holiday weekend here. Like we've had Thursday off and Friday off and Saturday is going to be off, and so like it's a 4-day weekend, right? And like the reason is because we have Children's Day,
Mm.
and that's the first one, and then we're having tomb sweeping.
Okay, gotcha.
So I wanted to put this out there, okay? So these two holidays in particular. And by the way, in the future, I'm planning on making a whole video on my channel about Taiwanese holidays because I think people are going to like that. I think they're going to be curious and I want to hear about that because it's an important part of your culture is what days you choose to celebrate, right? I think so.
Please
But
check it out
anyway,
on Brian's channel.
it's coming. You can't check it out right now, but it's coming.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. But so here's my thing. All right. So number one, Children's Day. Like my first reaction was, I was like, this is so stupid. Children's Day is the dumbest holiday ever. Every day is Children's Day. All right. You guys don't go to work. You don't pay bills.
Yeah.
You don't do anything. Like every day is Children's Day. Like don't even mess around like that. You know, like you guys, this is ridiculous. Like
Yeah.
we need to have like, you know, an extra
Adults
day for
Day?
workers or an extra day for adults or something, right?
Yeah.
Like we do the real shit, you know?
Yeah.
But then my wife made a really good point and she kind of swung me, right? And here's something that's really different because it would not apply in the US or Canada, right? Or actually just in the West generally.
You know what? I think there is a Children's Day.
Children's Day, we need to have Children's Day in Taiwan because children here get worked to the bone, son. Yeah. Like these kids go to school early in the morning and they get out late in the afternoon and then they go to cram school and then they have to do homework and then they have to do cram school homework and they got to do piano lessons and they got to learn the violin and they got to go swimming and they got to learn calligraphy.
Dude, you're talking to me, man. I've done all of that.
And it's like, fuck, dude, these kids don't have time to be kids. Like they can't relax or have fun at all. They need Children's Day. Shit. Yeah. You know? They need Children's Day. They gotta have this. Yeah. And my wife kind of swung me the other way. It's like these kids work their asses off. And I'm like, yeah, they do.
Yeah.
But that doesn't apply because in the US we don't have that and kids are much more relaxed, you know. And I think in Canada you guys don't have Children's Day either, do you?
We got it a few years ago, actually.
Is it a national holiday though? Do you get off of work and stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my God, you guys are like turning Asian.
Yeah. It's funny because really, like Canadian kids have it really easy. Like
yeah, right. It's just like in America. It's so freaking
easy. Unless you're Chinese Canadian or Taiwanese Canadian.
Yeah. unless you're Daniel.
Yeah. Yeah, man. No, dude, I'll tell you, like
Daniel, you still there, dude? Yeah. Daniel. Oh, he cut out. Oops. Let's see. Let me send him a message real quick. well, hey, it seems I'm still live, but Daniel's having some technical issues, so yeah, we're going to have to wait for Daniel to come back, guys. So bear with me, okay? Be cool. All right, well, let's see what happens, guys. He's trying to fix his computer right now. His computer froze, and he's trying to get that back up. So we'll see. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you guys, since we're waiting for Daniel to pop up here. Yeah. Well, this might be my favorite ever. I'm definitely looking forward to trying other. There's 4 in total, and I've tried 3. So yeah, I'll let you guys know. Probably the next time we have a podcast, maybe I'll try the other one because I have a bottle of it in my refrigerator. So there you go. Oopsie. All right, guys, he's coming. Just be patient. Patience is key. He's on his way. I promise. This, and I'm going to send it to Daniel, and we'll be right back in a second. I just sent Daniel that URL, and hopefully it'll pop right back up. So,
You see me? Do you hear me?
I can hear you. I can't see you at the moment.
Do you see me?
No, still can't see you. Not sure what the deal is.
You sure? Because I can see me.
Yeah, is your camera turned on?
Yeah. Well, it's working for the audience, so let's just go from there.
It is. It's working for the audience.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry,
well,
guys.
That's good. That's good.
Don't know
So
why
can you see me? Is that okay?
everything's good on my end.
Okay, cool. So you can see me and I can hear you, and that's good enough.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, sorry about that, guys, but we're back.
My bad.
So sorry. What were you saying about Canada and Children's Day and about having a tough time or something?
Did you hear my schedule after school?
No, you cut out way before that.
Oh, okay. So I'll just tell you very quickly. So after school, Mondays was Chinese class. After school, Tuesdays after school was English. Wednesday after school was a violin. Thursday after school would be skating. Friday after school would be swimming. Saturday after school would be piano in the morning. And then in the afternoon, it would be more sight reading, piano. And then in the
seriously?
evening, right, in the evening, it would be music theory. And then Sunday is homework day. So we have like Chinese homework, math homework. Oh, we also had abacus.
Oh my God, the abacus.
Yeah. So there would have been a time when
oh my God.
I had all of that. Oh, it was awful.
Dude, that's intense. That is so intense.
Yeah, and I remember even my first grade teacher, I remember this, after school one time, because my parents ran a restaurant, and
Oh, they still do though, right?
they still do. But when I was in elementary school, it would have been let's see, it would have been at least a 20 to 25, probably a 20-minute drive from the restaurant to my elementary school. So we get off school at, or usually I think schools get off at 3, but I think our school got off at 2:45. It was just our school. And um my mom would arrive at, 3:10, sometimes 3:30. There was one time she might have came at like close to 4 o'clock or something. But anyways, I would always be the last student there, just waiting to be picked up. And then there's one time when my teacher sat my mom down, and he found out about my schedule, and he was just like, "Listen, uh, you know, adults have tools. They have their, whatever profession you're in, you have tools, and work is, your job. But for kids, play is kind of their job, is to learn that way, and their toys are kind of their tools, so to speak." He was trying to, tell that to my mom, and my mom was just not having it at all.
Yeah, I imagine she'd be like, "This is ridiculous."
There's some Canadian crap you're feeding me.
Yeah.
So,
What
yeah.
is this Laowai shit?
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. I could have used it. Man, I don't know. I would have appreciated a lighter workload and just been able to join the other kids and play.
I'm sure, dude. I'm sure. God damn, that's intense, man. That is so intense.
Yeah.
And okay, so like all of that, and did you? I mean, to this day, do you even like the piano?
I mean, yeah, the way that my mom like drilled it into me definitely has its negative impacts, but occasionally I'll go back and touch it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I think it's funny, like when like those things get pushed like super hard, like it can almost like backfire. Like you push
Absolutely.
it so hard, and then the kid's like, "Screw this! I hate the clarinet. Like I don't ever want to touch that again." Right?
Yeah, my sister is kind of more along those lines, but yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, so that's Children's Day. So I flip my stance, and then Dan wishes he had Children's Day. And then tomb sweeping. So I like this holiday. Like I like the intent behind it, and I kind of like the feeling behind it. But what I don't like is the pollution that it brings, because it brings a really bad case of pollution here in Taiwan. Like it's intense.
How, with what? Because I imagine, because I know what it is. We call it a samu.
Yeah, so you understand what it's about, right?
Well,
So,
very on a very surface level, because we don't necessarily do that here, not really anyway. I've been in Taiwan once when they did that, and all I remember is going to the cemetery and sweeping the floor. So how does that produce pollution?
yeah, okay. Well, but it goes way beyond that, right? So, yeah, like the name implies, tomb sweeping is when you will go and clean the gravesite of your ancestors, right? Or your recently departed family members, right? And it's a form of like respect and for the people who came before you, right? It's reverence and tribute, right? Because like the people who came before you, if it wasn't for them, then you wouldn't be here. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of why I like it. But like, so it leads to a lot of pollution though, because in Taiwan, part of doing all of this involves the burning of incense, and it involves the burning of ghost money, right?
Oh God, yeah, no, we
And
do
so
that.
when you burn all of that stuff, it pollutes the air massively. And while it might not be that bad if it's like one or two people doing it, like on some off day.
No.
But when you have like the majority of all 23 million people who live here all burning at the same time, then the whole goddamn sky turns black.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's really bad. And then like everyone's like choking and can't breathe, you know?
Yeah,
It's too much.
So is that on Monday, or what day is that on?
Actually today.
Oh,
No, well, actually, well, technically today is Saturday, but so it started today, and it'll go on and like this until Monday.
So I'll actually appreciate it if you can take some pictures of like the sky and show me like how bad it gets.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'd like to show you and shock everybody on Instagram, but where I'm living, it's not really that much of an issue,
Okay.
right? Because if you know anything about Taiwan and about how people handle death and about how where they put their dead, it's not an issue here. Like I'm in a low-lying area, you know, and the deal in Taiwan is that most of the time people are going to be buried or their ashes will be placed on a mountainside or a hillside,
Right,
you
right,
know,
yeah.
like
Like,
those cemeteries will be located like far up into the mountains.
right.
And that's actually where my wife's grandmother and grandfather are located. And when we go to do our little tribute thing and our little prayers and all that stuff, we have to drive far. We have to drive like far into the mountains, like for an hour or two.
Yeah, no, I remember that. Yeah, we had to go up to the mountains and
Yeah,
yeah, I
like
remember.
Taiwanese always do that. Like they always put their dead like way up high.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, we actually did that here too, but obviously, not many people did it too. I don't think I wonder what the numbers would be of like all the Chinese people in Vancouver and how many people carry that tradition
Yeah, I
over
don't
here.
know, dude. If you combined all the Chinese, Taiwanese people, and maybe even people from like Singapore, Malaysia all together,
Hong Kong.
yeah, anywhere, where there's like, people from the Sino sphere, if you want to call it that. Like, if you put them all together and they were all burning at the same time, what would Vancouver look like?
Yeah, because we actually do it on we don't do it on the tomb sweeping day. We do it on the day that my grandparents passed away, which is
Oh,
on
smart, dude, smart. That's actually a lot like what my wife's family does.
okay. So
Like
they don't do it.
we're actually not gonna go out like for this tomb
Oh,
sweeping holiday. We're gonna wait like 2 weeks and then we're gonna go over there.
because it gets crowded, I assume.
Yeah, it gets too crowded. The traffic is crazy. People get out of control, right? Like the air is really bad. It's just it's ridiculous. Like you don't want to deal with that nonsense. So if you just wait a week or two, you go and it's much more pleasant.
Actually, oh wow, no, okay, because before when we were talking about it, I only remember one, just one time that I did that, but then I remembered another time when I did that. The first time I did it, it was I can't remember who passed away or whose tomb we were sweeping because I would have been like, I don't know, 13 or something, but or maybe even younger actually. But but it was we were at this grave and everybody that was there was I think they might have been honoring the same person um or maybe a couple people, but then the second time that I remember doing it, it was we drove up to this uh huge temple. It was like this huge, like this mountain and this huge temple, and there were so many people
Was this
there.
in Taiwan?
This is in Taiwan, yeah.
Oh, okay, because I was gonna say, God, they have big ass temples in Vancouver.
There is a temple, big temple in here actually, but that's besides the point. But yeah, it was I think it was I can't remember who passed away, but our dead was cremated, and then we
Mm.
we did that.
Yeah, I think almost everybody here in Taiwan is cremated because we just literally don't have the space for
Right.
people to get buried.
Yeah. Yeah. We do it on Christmas Eve because that's when my grandmother passed away.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, like we never really, obviously we're not Christian, thank God.
Yeah.
But
That's so ironic.
yeah.
That's so ironic, but that's so funny.
So what we do while everybody's doing their Christian shit, we're burning.
Can I ask you though, like even like on like a secular, just like secular level,
Yeah.
do you do anything Christmassy? Like just for fun? Like you
Oh
just
well.
have eggnog or like you go to a party or something? Like trade gifts with friends?
No, because my parents' restaurant was a lot busier during this time, and like,
Oh, okay. Wow,
because
you guys have a lot of Jewish people coming in?
well, I don't know about that, but like all the white restaurants would be closed, right?
Oh, okay.
So for
Okay.
those, because of Christmas, right? So I guess all the white people who don't celebrate or don't have family in the city or whatever, it would just get really busy here.
Jewish people, dude. That's when they come out.
That's what I've heard about, like the Jewish people going to Chinese restaurants.
I've heard Jewish people make jokes about that themselves. They're like, that's when we come out and we go to Chinese restaurants.
Yeah, I personally
get some egg foo young for China for Christmas.
Wait, say that again.
I said they're like, yeah, let's go get some egg foo young for Christmas.
What's egg foo young?
It's one of those silly like Chinese American dishes, you know,
okay.
like egg foo young or what's the other one?
Kung Pao?
Moo gai pan, kung pao chicken, General Tso's chicken.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we have that.
That kind of Panda Express shit, you know.
Yeah. So because of that, my parents were always at the restaurant during any holiday, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Chinese New Year. It was all, they were out at the restaurant. So, but we did have, eventually some of my cousins from Taiwan moved here. And so I did go over and have a sleepover there. So that was nice.
Cool, man. Cool.
Yeah. But then the day after or the day before, now we have our own. I mean, we always had it. The Chinese kind of pot where we burn the ghost money.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and then we'd have to fold it and then throw it in there and burn it, and there'd be ashes on my clothes and hair everywhere.
Yeah, dude, we don't even do, like, my family doesn't even do that, right? Just because of our own traditions and our own like religious situation. But you don't even have to. Like, just walking outside on some days, you get coated in ash.
Yeah.
Because all your neighbors and all the different business owners will be doing it. So there's no way you can avoid it.
What is your wife's religion, if she believes in anything?
My wife is nominally Christian. My father-in-law is, for all intents and purposes, an atheist, although his parents were Christians, I guess. And then, as I've said before, my mother-in-law is actually, she's Falun Gong. She's a Falun Gong practitioner, right? Which is interesting, and that's a whole nother thing, and that gets complicated. But yeah, we're mixed.
Right. So what does your wife do that's Christian?
Well, like, I mean, we do the same as all the other families do, right? Like I said, but we just don't go on the tomb sweeping days. Like, we go a little bit later so we don't get caught in the crowd, you know?
Right, but like, does she go to like church, or does she celebrate any of the Christian
You mean
holidays?
for the holiday, or you mean just in her daily life?
Daily life? I'm assuming she doesn't.
Oh, well, okay, like in her daily life, she goes, I don't know, she goes like every once in a while. Like, she'll probably go maybe like twice a year or something like that.
Okay. And you don't
It's,
go
it's
with
not
her?
it's not too intense, and it's not something I'm interested in, and I don't get involved in that. Like, you know, we spoke privately, but I'm not a very religious kind of guy. I'm a very secular kind of guy.
Yeah.
So I don't get mixed up in all of that. I respect her. We don't fight about that. I don't argue with her about that. I don't challenge her on that at all. That's her personal belief. And I'm not a militant kind of guy. Like, I think everyone should just live and let live.
Right.
I only get upset if somebody's trying to push something on somebody else.
Right. So I guess, how are you raising your children in that context?
Well, I'm raising my boys to be pretty secular. You know, they get influence from my wife and mother-in-law, obviously, but I think for the most part, they're just normal kids. They're just secular. Like, everything is just pretty normal, right? Like, there's no entity, there's nothing supernatural. Like, everything is all science-based, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, right? Like,
yeah. So, okay. Do you feel like it's a good time to wrap it here? I don't want to. I'm pretty sure it's getting late in Taiwan.
Yeah. How long have we been going? What's our count there? Does it even say?
An hour and 30 minutes, 25 minutes.
Not too bad. Yeah. I don't know. I guess what was there? There's like one more thing I wanted to bring up. Oh God, it's escaping me right now. Or I don't know. Did you have anything that you wanted to cover?
I think we could save it for the next episode on your channel.
Yeah, what'd you have in mind? Let's leave a little teaser then.
Basically some of the disappointments my dad has about Taiwan over some things that I've heard him, grunt under his breath over the years.
Yeah, like what? Like non-military, because if we get into military, we can go for another 3 hours.
There's that. I guess a bit of the culture. Driving is another one. And I guess he's used to higher sanitation standards here.
Yeah. Oh man, we could get into that too, right? Like that's part of what's going on with this ghost money thing. Okay, so one more thing. So if you'll indulge me, one more thing with this ghost money stuff. Like people nowadays, they always want to come up with like this new technology, this new solution to an old problem, right? And so there's this funny thing that happened in Taiwan years back, is to try to fight the air pollution on tomb sweeping.
Yeah.
Is they tried to get people to stop burning ghost money. So like, how do you do that though? So they're like, oh, you can buy ghost credit cards.
Oh God.
And you can load money to them and that ghost bank account. And then your ancestors can just go to the ghost bank and then withdraw.
Wait, what was that second one? What was that second one?
Like they can go to the ghost bank and they can use their ghost bank account and they can just withdraw the ghost money up in heaven. Yeah. And that's how your ancestors can do it like that, right? It's perfect. It's a solution. And like all the time, oh shit, I can see you.
Yeah.
You're back.
Yeah. Sorry.
But I just thought it was hilarious. And like it failed spectacularly. It was a total failure. Because people here were like, are you ridiculous? My ancestors don't know what an ATM is. They don't know what a bank is. They're not walking up into banks and withdrawing money. They don't know about that.
Yeah.
They know about papers and they know about coins. That's what we're going to burn because that's what they would have used. And so this whole initiative that they tried to push, I think it was a government push that they tried to get them to get into this ghost bank account, ghost credit cards or some bullshit like that. It failed. It just totally failed.
That's what I assumed. Yeah.
It's just stupid, right? Like, I mean, the intent is good. Don't get me wrong. Like, their intentions are good. They're trying to solve a problem, right? They're trying to clean up the air so we can all be healthy,
right.
But it's a dumb idea. Like, it would never work. Like, if you asked me, I would have been like, don't even try this. It'll never work.
Yeah. Oh, I wonder. Somebody just commented, look out your window in 10 minutes, Sean Kelly. What the heck?
Look out my window in 10 minutes.
Somebody just commented, what do you mean?
That's my friend. That's a good friend of mine here.
Oh, Sean Kelly?
Yeah, he's a really, really good friend of mine.
Okay. Is he another Lao Wai?
Yeah, he's a foreigner. He's Canadian,
Taiwan?
Actually.
In Taiwan?
Yeah, he's Canadian. He's from was he from like Toronto or something?
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, Sean.
Hey, Sean.
Do you understand what you have done? I don't know what he meant by that, but
yeah, he's just visiting. He's just visiting over here. He's my buddy. He comes to visit in Taiwan frequently.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I guess he's coming in 10 minutes.
Is he? Okay. Well, I guess we can wrap it up then.
Okay. Well, this has been not too long. I mean, we did one for 2 hours once before, but we'll wrap it up here today. Thanks, Brian from American in Taiwan, for joining me. And on the next episode, we'll be doing this on his channel. So I will link his channel in the description below. Brian, do you want to say anything? Closing?
Yeah. Thanks for coming, everybody. Thanks for listening to us. If you made it to this point, you are awesome. I know we've been going on for a long time, but I hope you found all those topics to be very, very interesting. And the next one will be on my channel. We alternate. Every other podcast is on the other guy's channel. And until next time, thank you for tuning in to the AmeriTaiNadian podcast.
All right. Bye, guys.
See ya.